Hello and welcome. My name is Simon and we are the Whales of Wall Street. Apologies for no camera today. So that actually means we speed this video up slightly. I'm sure you'll be very pleased with that. So today we're going to be talking about a crucial update from the Bank of England, which is basically involving interoperability conversation and the infrastructure behind that moving forward, which we believe will involve blockchain when we come to looking at things like CBDCs and the improvement of the existing real-time gross settlement infrastructure that they have in place currently. So let's go straight into this. This is actually based on an article that's come out on the 21st, so a couple of days ago, from Victoria Cleland, on the Bank of England website, and it's really interesting to have a read through this. I'm not going to read all of it because a load of it's some weird nonsense about Stonehenge and things like that, but it's really clear within this speech or this documentation that the infrastructure that they're sort of basically admitting that there's some concerns around falling behind in the UK finance systems compared to other countries where perhaps they're a bit more advanced in the infrastructure behind the monetary system and the technologies that they are using. So there's a real emphasis behind this to improve the what they say RTGS, which is the real-time gross settlement. So that's basically kind of like the service or the infrastructure that holds all the bank accounts together and allows like real-time transactions to occur. We'll go into that in a bit more detail in a second, but some really key bits of information on here. I know we did a video recently on the cashless society. So, of course, we mentioned about, why that might be, but also, of course, the introduction and more usability of digital applications and digital ways of doing banking. So here they just pulled out some really interesting statistics, like 2010, 56% of payments were made using cash. You can fast forward to the last year or so, that's dropped down to, incredibly down to 17%, with a view of going even further over the next few years, thus bringing in the reduction or decline or even removal of cash and bringing in things for digital payments to use on smartphones, watches and things like this. And I'm sure it will go beyond that moving forward as well. So lots of talk in this about CBDCs and, like I've mentioned as well, improving the current infrastructure. So there's a real high vision here of improving the interoperability of inclusions of systems such as CHAPS and BACS, the improvements of credit systems and things like this as well. So CHAPS, just so you know, is kind of like a bank to banks, and BACS is more like customer friendly, kind of, I think we mentioned a video recently about taking up to 3 days to process transactions using BACS. So it's more around like debits and credit payments systems. And of course, looking at things in terms of cross-border payment improvements as well. So at the moment, with the current infrastructure in place, there is an issue kind of like with the lack of convenience, the issue with cross-border payments in terms of the timings, the fees, and on occasion issues with different regulations in different countries. So there's all these situations, even including remittance, where things like blockchain can really improve this kind of infrastructure and emphasis. And one of the other key things to pull out here is the ISO. Again, I don't know how to say this in the correct manner, but let's just go with 222 just to make it easy. So this is actually the messaging process behind payments and improving the standardization of how payments are made and regulation essentially within banking infrastructures worldwide. So it's trying to interlace the whole global system under one unified ISO standardization. So what the Bank of England is, of course, trying to do is improve the RTGS system to integrate with the ISO requirements. And that is what they're doing with what they're calling RTGS2, which is mentioned down here. So many words here. In terms of what they're trying to do in kind of like a time frame schedule. So that's on the cards. We've mentioned about cross-border payments. Look at this. This is incredible. So global cross-border payments estimated to soar from almost $150 trillion in 2017 to over $250 trillion by 2027. Now, I don't care how much tech they try and improve this RTGS with, there's no way they're going to be able to sustain that without the use of blockchain technology, for sure. So let's keep an eye on that, because that's really interesting. It really coincides with what we've been talking about in the videos recently, and what many YouTubers and financial experts have certainly been speaking about over the years. Again, massive mentions here of the CBDCs, and if that comes into play, they will say if, it's guaranteed, it's 100% coming for sure. They probably know what they're doing. It's just a question of integrating the infrastructure, to improve the current systems, to allow the existing systems to coincide or work towards or work with blockchain technology moving forward. So what I would say is, just keep an eye on this. Have a read of this article. It's absolutely fantastic. Some strange references to Stonehenge and some other historic information, but I think it's all around really engineering and innovation. So it's kind of on topic, but I don't think it's necessary to put all that nonsense in these articles. But hey ho, we can't all be perfect, right? So the other thing as well from the Bank of England here is just again a reiteration of the phases of these timelines to improve CHAPS and other partnerships and infrastructures in place. So there's some really key dates here. What's interesting is the kind of phase 2 that we're at now. So it'd be interesting over the next couple of weeks to see what else comes out, as well as the news we've just gone through. And looking forwards, kind of like the next 2 or 3 years, it's very clear they're looking at improving the core ledger systems. So interoperability is a really key word here. Integrating the infrastructures. By the way, for those that don't know about interoperability, it's pretty much like all the kind of like payment systems and products, allowing them to like talk and understand each other. So it's really key for like digital services moving forward for sure, and leading on to digital finance as we see it hopefully happening in the next few years. And what's quite interesting as well is there's some statistics on one of these research papers I was reading earlier. There's actually just over 2 billion people worldwide that are what they call unbankable. So whether that's through credit failure or just being in a region or a country perhaps that doesn't provide banking solutions or the best service possible for people to allow to be having banks. They don't have their own identities and things like this. Things like blockchain really help with this. In terms of like being able to share information, improve the speeds of transactions, and of course the policies and things like that. But there's other elements to this as well that I think are really key for me, and utilizing things like smart contracts and allowing them all to work together and allowing people to be more trusted, to the whole KYC thing, the know your customer, having that transparency across financial elements, not removing things like money laundering, financial crime. So a real big benefit to the world and the economy, but for me as well, for the individuals as well. So it's like creating like this fairer system. So those that are in the dark can now like step out of the shadows, not be invisible anymore, and come into a bright future. So when you think like you're buying food in the shops and stuff, you don't know like historic data or the transportation of that, or who's even generated this food produce or this product. And sometimes these people, like, I know we've got like fair trade and things, but I'm sure out there's still people that are unidentifiable in terms of the actual real workload they do for us to benefit and eat the produce or consume the produce, buy things, etc. And the people that are actually responsible for it or the creation of it are perhaps not getting rewarded in the right way and things like this. So Smart chain technology and blockchain technology really helps with that, from the transparency perspective, but also being more of a fairer society. And we were talking about Agenda 30, about sustainability, diversification, and fairness across the world. Finance, in terms of crypto and blockchain technology, really emphasizes that. So the interoperability is kind of bringing all of those things together, allowing various blockchains to work together, but also when we're looking at the RTGS system, interoperability is pulling in things like all the gigantic benefits of blockchain and smart contracts that we just mentioned, pulling it into systems that already exist in the monetary systems as well. Now, don't get me wrong, I want to be in more of a decentralized aspect world, but equally we must anticipate that, of course, there's a gigantic banking system already existing. It makes total economic sense from education perspective, skill sets, to the technology and infrastructure itself, to be able to like pull these two things together. So if there is a CBD system coming out, there is at least some element of decentralization aspects with smart contracts technology and the emphasis behind that into integration of the existing banking system. So let's think about existing banking systems, all the problems it has, all the crime potential it has, fraudulent activity, corruption, tax evasions, all of these things can immediately be wiped out using things like blockchain. So I'm pretty adamant that for sure, as part of these phases, as part of the RTGS2 core ledger systems, we will get this. It's definitely supported by some major sort of crypto assets. In particular, a couple that I've talked about quite a bit, Zinfin, Ripple, respectively, XDC and XRP. These are gigantic, of course, businesses that are working very hard in improving the ledger system, improving interoperability, both in-house of a nation and the cross-border payments. So Zinfin as well, of course, being hybrid blockchain, it helps both enterprise and consumer level. It's really tying together, guys, and I think it's really important to keep emphasizing these points. I'll keep pushing these updates as they come out. When you start seeing more and more things coming out of institutions like the Federal Reserve, Bank of England, pushing more and more about CBDCs coming, the changes of finance, it's a really exciting time to be involved in finance for sure. And just to back this up as well, obviously not UK based, but it's all about the instant remittances, instant payments, immediate settlements within a few seconds, not days, reduction of fees, reduction of costs. It's so good for the economy. Think how much money the economies of each country will save just from the emission reductions and the costs of transactions in general. It's just going to make business flow a lot more worldwide. Logistics, supply chain, everything that you can possibly think of involving money will pretty much be being improved as we go along. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Like I said, have a look at this article in detail. It's really interesting. It pulls out a lot of really key information and targets over the next few years. But yeah, I mean, there's always this talk about regulation and policy. It's just so convenient that all of these things are coming together, and all these announcements in the background are coming out through about standardization, the interoperability perspective of digital currency, digital aspects of finance coming to light to improve the welfare of everyone, to improve the transparency, to improve the way we finance the world. It's absolutely fantastic. It makes me really bullish on projects like XDC, like XRP, and I can't talk more about it really in a more positive fashion than I already do. Check out the other videos that I've done on Zinfin, and you'll perhaps see why a bit more as to why I'm sort of backing those kind of projects, real fundamental crypto assets for sure. So I hope that's been of interest to you guys, and like I said, I'll keep updating as the news sort of pops up here and there. Please do like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out, of course. And let us know what you think in the comments. What do you think about the digital transitions moving forward with finance? Do you see this as a good thing? And what are your thoughts on XRP XDC? Do you have a preference? Do you think they're both as important? And of course, any other assets do you think that would be really of interest when it comes to this kind of topic? But like I said, I hope you've enjoyed it, guys, and we'll look forward to the next video review, and we'll see you on the moon. Take care, and thank you.